Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for another stream. We're back for the transfer tips video for Game Week 2, as always. So normally we do this video on a Tuesday, but we wasn't able to put our video out for you yesterday, so we've done it on a Wednesday. But it will be going back to a Tuesday from now on. Also, we've gone an hour early as well, usually 7 p.m., but it will be six today, if that's okay with everyone. But yeah, if you are just joining in, make sure you do smash a like button on the video. How you doing, Jordan? Is everything well?
Yeah, everything's good. Hopefully, everyone else is enjoying the week. And yeah, this has come thick and fast. Buy, sell, hold, and ignore. It's in game week 2 already. So yeah, it will soon be underway when it comes Friday.
Yeah, of course. If you guys aren't familiar with this series, it is the buy, sell, hold, ignore. And we're going to select you 2 players that you should be looking to buy, sell, hold, and ignore. So yeah, let's start. And the first one is actually Ben Chilwell, who we've got as a buy for Game Week 2. So for those that didn't watch against Liverpool v Chelsea in that first game, I thought Chelsea played really well, especially after the first 30 minutes where I thought Liverpool were the better team. After that, I thought Chelsea looked good, and especially Ben Chilwell. I was very impressed with the way you played, and he did get an assist for Disasi's goal with the header. And Ben Chilwell also actually scored against Liverpool, and it was slightly marginally offside. So he's getting in attacking positions, and he was bombing down that left-hand side, the flank, and he's getting up and down. So I did like the look of him. He looked attacking. Already an assist in the game week 1. His underlying numbers, obviously, as of now, of this one game, so they look pretty good. 0.23 expected assists per 90. And the main attraction for me in terms of getting someone like Ben Chilwell into the teams is you take a look at his fixtures. Now, he has had a price rise, so he's now priced at 5.6 million. And his ownership is increasing. I was one of those that actually started with Ben Chilwell in my team in game week 1. And I'm happy I went with him and took that risk. Because when you take a look at his fixtures now, game week 2, he's got West Ham. Game week 3 is Luton at home. Game week 4 is Nottingham Forest at home. Game week 5 is Bournemouth, and then Aston Villa after that. So, again, the fixtures look very, very good. A lot of greens in there. Back-to-back home games against Luton and Forest look appealing. And someone like Ben Chilwell, even a double-up potentially with the Reece James, which I do have in my team, I do like the look of. And then, yeah, for me, it's just the fixtures really, I think, and especially with the injury to, sorry, not the injury, with Gabriel being dropped in game week 1, he should be back, but there are a few people now willing to switch to Chilwell. But overall, I think he is a good buy, if you can, bring him into your team at 5.6. But what's your thoughts on Ben Chilwell, Jordan? Like, have you been impressed with the way he played in game week 1? Obviously, Chelsea looking a bit more better in that second half, especially, and the fixture looked pretty nice.
Yeah, I was impressed with Chelsea overall against Liverpool. They gave them a really tough game, considering how they played last year. In particular, as we saw from last season, Chilwell and obviously Reece James, these 2 were the outstanding wing backs for Chelsea. And obviously Chilwell has shown that once again in that Liverpool game by getting that assist from that header to this. It's hard to say his name.
Disasi.
Yeah, Disasi. So yeah, he's getting those attacking returns in that, obviously in the defender position he is on fantasy, which does make him a valuable asset in your defense if he's getting his attacking returns most of the game weeks that Chelsea have coming up, especially from game week 3 onwards, where obviously they play Luton at home and then Nottingham Forest in game week 4 and then Bournemouth away in game week 5. So those 3 fixtures in particular look really good for Chilwell if he can obviously keep his fitness up to the standards, and obviously as long as he does that, I can see him do really well in the next 5 fixtures. So yeah, his ownership has risen quite a bit, obviously from that assist they did score, and obviously the form he showed in that Liverpool game, and also his price he got by 0.1 million. So he is now 5.6. So yeah, a lot of people are buying Chilwell, and personally for me, yeah, he's a decent buy, especially with the fixtures Chelsea have and what Chilwell shown against Liverpool. He is definitely one to look out for if you want him in your team.
Yeah, I agree there. I think he could be a good buy, definitely. Um, we got Michael in the chat. He said, "Good evening, chaps. How's it going?" Yeah, it's all good, Michael. Hope you're well. We've got Derek as well. Hi, evening all. Yeah, welcome Derek to the stream. But yeah, let's move on to another player on the list. Obviously, that's the first buy out the way, and that's Ben Chilwell. Um, next up, if you can,
Oh yeah,
next player.
sorry, I'm not used to being in control of
Yeah,
of the slides.
and yeah, is James Madison. So obviously, Madison kicked off this season with Spurs, the new signing against Brentford, and that ended in a 2-2 draw. And I thought Madison played really well. You know, getting 2 assists in the first game bodes well for Madison for the rest of the season, in my opinion. He is priced at 7.5 million. He's just crept up 13% ownership as well. And you take a look at his fixture run, they look pretty good to me as well. So Manchester United in game week 2. And if you didn't see how Man United played on Monday night, it wasn't pretty. So Madison could be a decent player to own in that fixture. And then after that, if you want to wait against Man United and see how he does, then after that, the 3 fixtures, game week 3, game week 4, game week 5, doesn't really get much better than that on paper. Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield. And, depending on how Bruno does, because a lot of us have Bruno and Rashford in our teams, even Odegaard. If they don't perform in game week 2, switching to Madison could be a viable option in my opinion. He's 7.5, so if you've got Bruno to Madison could be a good buy, like good pick. But in my opinion, I would be holding off selling players like that. But Madison definitely, if you want to get in there a bit early, 2 assists already, and he showed last season in that poor Leicester team, he's still got double-digit goals and assists, and I don't think that's going to change. If I'm being honest, I think Madison's going to have a really good season, and I expect him to be one of the highest scoring midfielders in the game. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Jordan. Obviously, he had a good season last year in that Leicester side, even though they got relegated. 2 assists. Are you impressed? And with the fixtures to come, is it someone that is on your watch list?
Yeah, I am impressed by Madison, and he's definitely on my watches in particular for my team. He could potentially be in my team facing Man United at home in game week 2. Yeah, I was impressed by Madison's 2 assists. I mean, they were pretty nice. He set up the 2 goals for Tottenham, and obviously that finished in a draw. So I think without Madison, potentially Tottenham could have lost that game if it weren't for Madison providing those assists for the team. But yeah, the fixtures as well for Spurs are brilliant. If you consider Man United, if they play the same way they did against obviously Wolves, then you could really tell that's a green fixture rather than the grey one. Then onwards after Man United, you got Bournemouth away, Burnley away, and back-to-back newly promoted teams, game week 4 and 5, when they go against Burnley, Sheffield. So yeah, it is looking on the upside for Madison. At the price of 7.5 million as well, he is cheaper than other midfielders like Odegaard, Saka and whatnot, if you're looking to go cheaper in the midfield, because he has got 2 assists already from just one game. So yeah, definitely one to look out for. It depends on you if you want to wait after the game week 2 to buy Madison, but I think jumping on early on Madison is probably, I was probably suggest it's a better idea because his ownership is rising and he's expected to rise in price as well, as he won't
Mm-hmm.
be always 7.5 million. So maybe you want to jump on Madison before obviously his price does rise if you are looking out at prices.
Yeah. Also, guys, can you please let us know if the sound is fine? Because I know Michael put a comment, because I am getting quite a lot of feedback with your mic, Jordan, as well. I can hear it. Um, is the sound fine, guys? It's not too like you can't hear any like what's the word? Background noise or anything. Let us know, please, in the comments. But yeah, it should be fine. But I do hear like a fuzz from your end. Um,
Yeah, I've been having trouble.
sorry.
I've been having trouble with my audio. I don't know if it's my laptop. It's causing it because anything I plug in seems to bring back feedback that
Yeah,
you guys are hearing.
it's actually a bit better now. But yeah, I was hearing like a feedback, but hopefully let us know, guys. It's not too bad. But yeah, Madison definitely, guys, is a buy. Let's move on then to some players that we think we should be looking to sell. And the first one on the list that we have for you guys is actually Kevin De Bruyne. So as we've seen the news, we're not going to spend too much time on Kevin De Bruyne. Pep Guardiola has actually come and said, Pep Guardiola has actually come out and said that KDB has a serious injury, which looks like it's a recurrence from the Champions League final that he had. You know, the injury he got in the final. And so it's a hamstring-based injury. He looks like he's going to have surgery as well, and he's going to be out for till the new year potentially. So it's a big, big blow for Man City. And if you've got De Bruyne, it's an easy sell because obviously he's going to miss months now. It looks like so. Yeah, he's come down already in price. He's gone down to 10.4. So if you do have him, you definitely get rid. And if you can move up to someone like Mo Salah, I think that could be an interesting one, especially when he's got Bournemouth at home in Game Week 2. So yeah, KDB, easy sell. I'm sure you agree as well, Jordan.
Yeah, unfortunately for KDB, he's got injured after literally playing. I don't think he can play 20 minutes of football in that Burnley game. So yeah, it looked like a pretty serious injury. Obviously, his hamstring went. So yeah, I think obviously KDB becomes a sell. His ownership is dropping. His price also has dropped. So yeah, he becomes an easy sell, especially for the price at 10.4 million. You'd want to look into some cheaper midfielder options, as KDB will probably be out for obviously most of the fixtures coming up.
Yeah, let's move on to the second sell of the game week that we recommend that you guys consider. And again, it's another obvious one we've gone with, and that is Jurriën Timber, similar to KDB. It's actually come out and obviously Arteta said Arsenal have confirmed that that Timber has an ACL injury. So again, he's out for the rest of the season, which is a big shame, because he looked really good in the preseason game against Man City, or sorry, in the Community Shield match, I should say. And then in Game Week 1, he also looked, he was looking good. And Arsenal fans were, saying that Timber was expected to play a big role this season. And with the way that, Arsenal lined up, Timber inverting, etc., he looked like a very exciting player for them this season. However, it's a big blow for Arsenal and the player. Obviously, hope speedy recovery to Jurriën Timber. But yeah, he's an easy sell, obviously. And yeah, hopefully he makes a quick recovery. Let's move on to the next player on the list. And this is a hold. And obviously it's his teammate. And that is actually Gabriel. Now, as we guys all know, we were a bit surprised when Gabriel was dropped to the bench. So no one really saw this coming. Gabriel, I think he had started 70 Premier League games before that drop. And yeah, it was a surprise. And obviously, as a Gabriel owner myself, I was slightly annoyed. I didn't get the leak. And yeah, I missed out basically on having Gabriel or going with Saliba instead. Annoyingly. But it is what it is. I still believe, though, Gabriel is a hold if you have him, because I don't think there's any point rushing him out and switching it to Saliba. That's a bit of a sideways move. And especially with Jurriën Timber, as mentioned previously, is now injured for the rest of the season. That could mean Gabriel is back now for, back in the starting lineup. And if that's the case, I definitely just want to hold him. I think Crystal Palace away, I probably won't even play him because I've got double Chelsea defense. So after that, Fulham, etc., you can play him. But I'd be holding on to Gabriel. I know his price could drop soon, but he's not dropped yet, and one to watch. But if you don't need the money in terms of going up to Chilwell, because obviously Chilwell's already gone up in price, I would personally hold Gabriel and wait and see if he starts Game Week 2 against Palace. If he doesn't start against Palace, then I think there's bigger issues, and I would be getting rid of Gabriel. But I think give it Game Week 2 and then assess from there. What's your thoughts on it, Jordan, on Gabriel and his situation?
Yeah, it was unfortunate that he missed out on Game Week 1 fixture, obviously from that slight injury that he had. But the fixtures are looking up for Arsenal. Hopefully, he's fine for the foreseeable next fixtures because they are looking good for Arsenal, and especially clean sheet wise. Gabriel is important, I think, in that defence. If he doesn't play or someone important like Saliba as well, then Arsenal do tend to struggle in that defence as they did last season when obviously Saliba, his teammate, was out. So yeah, I think having Gabriel, obviously, hopefully he stays fit, but he's definitely a hold. I think nearer the time, obviously when we see the lineups and obviously the press conferences and whatnot, then probably decide what to do with Gabriel. But most likely, you definitely want to hold on to him just because obviously of Timber's incident and obviously Arsenal don't have many obviously defenders to replace these guys at the back. So Gabriel definitely I would hold on to. A lot of people have got rid of Gabriel. It's 30.4% and it is dropping. So I think it's definitely not a good idea to get rid of him yet. It's a bit early days, but yeah, definitely want to hold on to Gabriel and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's move on to the next player then on the list. And the next hold that we've got for you guys. I'll just let you bring the graphic up. And that is Martin Odegaard. Now, we've got Martin Odegaard as a hold as well. Purely because he's actually been transferred out by quite a lot of you managers. And I think it's still kind of knee-jerky. I know he didn't really return in that first game against Forest. However, if you've bought Odegaard, I'm assuming you've bought him for these fixtures coming up as well. So Palace away in Gameweek 2 is quite a nice fixture for Arsenal and Odegaard. And after that, Fulham at home, you'd assume that Arsenal can put a couple goals past Fulham. So you'd probably want Odegaard for that fixture. Then after that, Man United, Everton. Obviously, the problem is Odegaard is 8.5 million, and you've got players like Maddison at 7.5, etc., who could be tempted to switch to. But if I had Odegaard, I would still probably just be a bit more patient. Give him another 2 games. If he doesn't deliver in the next 2, you could maybe look to switch him out. But I think it's still too early. You not reckon, Jordan, to take someone like Odegaard out after 1 game and not returning, because he could easily get returns against Palace and Fulham.
Yeah, with Arsenal midfielders, there's always a selection of goal scorers and assistant players like we saw last season. Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, they all shared, even Trossard, they all shared goals and assists between each other, but they didn't always score and assist in each game. And this is obviously what's just happened. Odegaard obviously didn't get any goals or assists from that 2-1 win against Nottingham Forest, but there's always the next game. Like Crystal Palace away, you could easily do it in that game, or in Fulham at home in Gameweek 3. Like, these are good fixtures for Arsenal, and obviously Odegaard, if you decide to get rid of him and he somehow scores a goal in his upcoming fixtures, you're going to regret obviously taking him out. So he's definitely worth holding on to, especially if you've got him already at 8.5 million as well. You just want to see what he does in the next few games and obviously contemplate afterwards. If he hasn't still got going in that midfield for Arsenal, then maybe then you can contemplate selling him. But I think it's still early days to get rid of Odegaard yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with those thoughts. So, yeah, let us know what you guys think as well, Odegaard. If you got him, are you holding him? Are you selling him? Let us know what you think. But yeah, for us, he would be a hold. Yeah, let's move on to the next player, Jordan. Obviously, moving on to some ignores. And this one might be controversial because we've selected Isak at Newcastle. Now, obviously, he had a brilliant game week 1, scoring 2 goals against Aston Villa in that 5-1 victory for Newcastle. And he looked very good, obviously. He had at a price rise as well, I believe, now 7.6 million. His ownership is 23%, so he is creeping up in ownership as well. However, I know he scored 2 goals, and a lot of you guys are rushing to bring him in. But you take a look at his fixtures. He's got Man City next, and that's away. So it is a tough fixture on paper for Isak and Newcastle. Now, I'm not saying that he can't score against Man City, but the chances of him scoring obviously do decrease. Liverpool in game week 3, I know Liverpool didn't look the best against Chelsea in game week 1. However, it's still It's seen as a red fixture. After that, it's Brighton and Brentford as well. So the fixtures don't look too good. And I wouldn't want to bring in Isak ahead of Man City personally. I'd rather look to bring in maybe someone like Jackson in game week 3 when Chelsea's fixtures turn and going on to Chelsea. But Isak isn't someone that, don't get me wrong, he can score against Man City, Liverpool, etc. But you'd assume that obviously the chances and the likelihood do come down with a better opponent. What's your thoughts on Isak, Jordan? Obviously, a lot of managers are bringing him in, causing his price to go up. But you take a look at the fixtures. Is it someone that you think we should be bringing in, or are you happy to kind of see, let these fixtures kind of pass and then bring him in when the fixtures turn again?
Yeah, I think I'd be more comfortable waiting after these fixtures swing. Obviously, out in game week 6, that's when we do see the swing when they have Sheffield United away. I think in that Aston Villa game, there was a bit of unfortunate events, obviously, from Tyrone Mings, for example. He got injured in that game, and obviously after that, it all fell apart for Aston Villa. But at the same time, Isak was clinical on his finishing, getting those 2 goals. So I won't knock his form off of that, and obviously he can put him away. But at the same time, we've got to look at the fixtures too, because Man City away, not a lot of teams can score many goals against Man City. I know Brentford did it last season where they drew against Man City 1-1, where Tony scored. But again, it's a hard team to face and obviously a hard team to score against. And it's going to be tough for Isak, I think, especially after that. You've got Liverpool as well, even though it's a home fixture. I still think that's a tough game for Isak to score in. But yeah, there's other players that, and also you don't want to use that transfer, I don't think, on a player that has these kind of fixtures. So I personally would ignore it, despite Isak starting the game week off with 2 goals against Aston Villa. But yeah, his ownership is on the rise. It's risen quite a bit, over 20% now. It was below that. So a lot of people are bringing Isak in, and he's also had a price rise. So yeah, I don't know whether that's going to pay off or not, but I think definitely he's ignored for now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll bring up the final player on the list, and that's another ignore, and that is actually Rodri. Now, again, similar to Isak, Rodri had a very good game week 1 where he got a goal and he got an assist, and he's actually risen in price too. He was 5.6 million now, and his ownership is just above 7%. And for me, he's an easy ignore. I think I know that at the moment in time, game week 1, there's still a lot of new players and a lot of players that bring players in that start doing well in game week 1. However, I would say Rodri isn't the type of player that you really should be looking to go for in FPL, just because of the type of player he is. He's a central defensive midfielder. He's a holding midfielder. He's not going to get many goals, and he's not going to get many assists throughout the season. And he's in the team for defensive duties. And also the other thing why you'd probably want to avoid, and ignore Rodri is the fact that, he takes up a Man City slot. So, you'd probably want other midfielders like Grealish, Foden, etc., with higher ceiling in terms of points. Obviously, we've all got Haaland, and sometimes you might even want a defender. So he does take up a spot. But again, it comes down to the fact that a lot of people, are bringing him in, but he's not going to do that. Most weeks he's more of a defensive-minded midfielder who is there to do the other part of the game. And obviously, he will chip in with the odd goals as he has in since he's joined City, but he's not the type of player, defensive midfielder similar to like Declan Rice, etc. We wouldn't be bringing these players into our FPL team due to being defensive midfielders. I'm sure you pretty much agree with everything there, Jordan, or unless you want to add anything else on it.
I 100% agree with all those comments. Yeah, Rodri is probably underrated in terms of Man City midfielders, but in terms of fantasy, he's not really obviously a goal scorer or ones that get assists. You see that more obviously from the other midfielders like Bernardo Silva possibly, and Foden, Grealish that we mentioned, even Mahrez who was there at Man City. But Rodri, yeah, I think because of the fixture, and I did mention this before, because it was so easy for Man City, I think they could afford to push obviously more forward than they would normally do against other teams. So that allowed Rodri to provide more attacking threat. As we saw, he got 1 goal and 1 assist from that Burnley game. So I think that is solely why these low teams that will struggle, especially newly promoted ones, will obviously see more involvement from players like Rodri. But so I don't think this will happen. Obviously, every fixture that Man City do have, it'll be here and there, where obviously the teams that they go against obviously will struggle, and then that allows Man City to push forward players like Rodri.
Let's get a quick recap then of the players that we've selected for the buy, sell, hold, ignore for this week. If we go from the top, if we go from the start, if that's okay. So yeah, on the list, guys, as a buys for Game Week 2, we've got Ben Chilwell is who you should buy along with James Maddison. You should be looking to sell, is it KDB and also Jurriën Timber. You should look to hold Gabriel and Odegaard, and you should look to ignore Isak along with Rodri. So those are the 8 players we've selected for you guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with the players that we've selected? Do you disagree? Are you selling someone that we've said, that we've mentioned, or vice versa? Would be interesting to hear your thoughts. We also do reply to all your comments as well, so make sure you do drop them in. If you are watching and you are enjoying the content, please don't forget to smash the like button, and also make sure you are subscribed to our channel so you don't miss out on any content. Also, just want to add, we are back again tomorrow for a stream for the team selection for Game Week 2, so make sure you do tune in for that, 7 p.m. UK time. We're going to read a few comments out, and I think we will wrap it up after that. Okay, I think it's a chat between some of you guys. But yeah, I think we are probably going to wrap it up here. We don't want to keep the video for too long. But yeah, as I mentioned, we are back again tomorrow for the team selection for Game Week 2. So make sure you tune in for that one. Like, subscribe as well in the chat. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, before we do wrap it up?
Just thanks everyone for watching, and obviously we've got more content to come. Obviously team selection tomorrow, so tune in for that. Streaming at the usual time of 7 o'clock. So yeah, tune in for that, guys, and yeah, subscribe, like the video, and turn your notifications on.
Thank you.